welcome back. Like we said a couple of days ago, we still wanted to do a little recap of this fantastic World Cup. To me and to many, one of the best, if not the best ever, like the most entertaining, with the best final game in the history of the competition, no doubt about it. Probably the best World Cup game ever. I even tend to agree with Rowans when he said probably the best single sport event he's ever witnessed. But there were very high performances. Argentina definitely ended playing at a really high level. The first half of the final against France was just outstanding. It was like a class on how to play a game like that. Completely obliterated the French team. They didn't even have a shot off target that for the first 78 minutes of the game. France had its ups and downs. It relied on the enormous power of their individualities when they couldn't get the teamwork going. Morocco was a very pleasant surprise. Croatia as well. Confirmation that Croatia is still at a high level. Even with Asian players, they were able to make it to the last four for the second World Cup in a row. Then with the disappointments, yeah, of course, Germany never advanced from the group stage again. Canada was a disappointment. We were expecting more. Belgium was a huge disappointment. Number 2 in the world, didn't even make it through group stage. And then Portugal and Brazil, they won big, and then they thought they just had it. That all they had to do is just to keep playing and go pick up the cup, and they were out the next round. So those definitely were the biggest disappointments I can think of. It was kind of disappointing not to see Uruguay progress any further. Japan and Korea were surprises, that were pleasant surprises, but unfortunately didn't go any further. But Netherlands also strong team, but ended playing against Argentina, one of the most entertaining games in the World Cup. And England always. Same thing, like it's a 95% or 95 cents of a dollar kind of team. They always seem to crash at the very last moment. Teams like Mexico, Portugal, Spain, England, they always look so good on paper, but then when the World Cup begins, and they always crash and burn. So I think in the end, the best 2 teams made the final game, and there was a final game for the ages, and very happy to see Argentina play the way they did against such a strong team and deservedly win the World Cup. So let's hear from the rest of the guys, and then we'll go through my own list of top players and disappointing players.
Now it's time for the team in the tournament. I've gone for a 4-4-2 diamond, so there's going to be a diamond in the midfield 4. Starting in the keeper, we have Emi Martinez. I mean, just a great tournament overall. Just so crucial down the line in this tournament. Just so many big saves. 2 penalty saves in the Holland game. The penalty save of Coleman tonight. And just so many big saves like the Kulo Moani chance in the last minute. Just so many great opportunities this World Cup to prove himself worthy of that, and he did so. Backline 4, we're going to be starting with Hakimi on the right back. Just a great player. Did really well with the Morocco team. Overachievers of the tournament, easily. I think he just really had a solid all-around great tournament. Always a reliable player, always defensively sound, great going forward. Just a really good player. Our 2 center backs I'm going to go with are Saiss, as well from Morocco, and Garvardiol. Garvardiol I already talked about in the award section. He's just an amazing end defender, controlled that back line. Unlucky against Argentina. Argentina are a side with great quality, so it's understandable. But just amazing center back, has every quality in a center back that you'd want. So Garvardiol is one center back, as well as Saiss, who is just a rock solid player in that Moroccan back line. Great player, and just so much praise for him. Remember watching him at Wolves when he first came over to the Premier League. Just very, very solid all around, and just great player. Left back, I'm going to put Theo Hernandez. Very, very crucial goal he scored in the semifinal against Morocco, as well as just being a really great player for us, for France. Great going forward. A little bit of a defensive liability, but I think that he's been the best left back of the tournament. I don't really think there's another left back that really stands out to me as being more impressive than Theo Hernandez. So that's my back line. Starting in the midfield, diamond four, we're gonna have Amrabat from Morocco as our DM. Just Morocco's best player of the whole tournament. Just an absolute rock. You know, Emmanuel Macron, France president, coming to tell him that he was the best, you know, player on the pitch after that game in the semifinal. Just, you know, doing wonders the whole game, coming off passing lanes, doing the dirty work, just everything you want from a CDM. So yeah, he's gonna be solid in the team. Our two midfielders, two CMs are gonna be Griezmann and Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez winning Young Player of the Tournament award. Just a great player, a great passer, really, really smart, shifty player. Loves to have a crack at net if he can. Just everything you want from a young player. He's ambitious, he's hungry, he's humble. You know, just a great player all around. And Griezmann, 4 years ago, he would have been as a center forward. You know, in the Euros last year, I would have put him at the cam. And 6 years ago at the Euros in 2016, I would have put him as a striker. You know, just the versatility on this guy is insane. So many different parts to his game that you just have to look at and just be in awe of. You know, stepping back from his goal-scoring ability to more of a support player, breaking through the lines, and just his creativity is off the charts. You know, once you let him flow and just free flow through the field, it's really amazing to see what he can do with the ball. And just a really creative player, and just you know, an absolute joy to watch, and was the glue in this France team. My attacking midfielder is going to be Bruno Fernandes. Now, Portugal, obviously disappointing against Morocco, but in every game that Bruno Fernandes was a part of, I thought he did exceptionally well. He was definitely the motor of that team, the creative spark that they needed. You know, he was really the game changer and the X factor in that team. You know, Ronaldo picking up all the headlines because of the drama, but Bruno Fernandes, I thought, was easily Portugal's best player, and sometimes it seemed like he was the only one to have a pulse in that team. So he's going to be slotted at the 10. I've opted to go with two strikers, seeing as I didn't really know if I didn't really think there was any real striker fit to play a role if it was a 3 up top instead of a 4 or 3-3. So I went with a 4-4-2 instead, and I put Mbappe and Messi up top. I mean, the numbers in the game speak for themselves. You know, they pass the eye test really easily, the stats test really easily. The stats back up the eye test. I mean, it's just the king and the heir to the throne, you know. Just Mbappe, a hyper-generational player, and then you have the greatest player of all time cementing his legacy this tournament. Both had amazing tournaments, both in double digits for all-time World Cup goals now. You just have to think that Kylian Mbappe is going to smash Miroslav Klose's record for goals scored all time in the World Cup. 4 goals off tying it at 23 years old in 2 World Cups. It's just absurd. It's unheard of. It's amazing. They both played out of their socks this tournament. You know, both players dragging their team further into the tournament and to more success when the rest of the team seemed down and out. Just 2 really magical players and 2 phenomenal footballers, and it's just a pleasure and joy to watch them. And regardless of the final tonight, I think that they both were easily the best 2 players in the tournament, and deservedly so, deserve to be the 2 strikers in my best 11. So that was my best 11, recapping: Emi Martinez, Hakimi, Saiss, Gvarvidal, Theo Hernandez, Amrabat, Griezmann, Enzo Fernandez, Bruno Fernandes, Mbappe, and Messi. A great tournament all around, a great starting side for the best team of the tournament in my opinion. And yeah, thank you guys.
There were quite a few good performances in this World Cup, some of them outstanding. So it was kind of hard to pick top 11, but I think I did a good job. I picked players from pretty much all the top teams, a couple of other players that I really liked, and I even came up with a list of about 10 substitutes. So here it is. So in net, I picked Emiliano Martinez, the Aston Villa keeper. He was instrumental in Argentina making it to semifinals against Netherlands and then the final. Then Nahuel Molina, the Atletico Madrid player, and the right back, Rafael Varane and Romain Saiz. Varane, Real Madrid, Saiz, Besiktas. And then Joshko Guardiol, the Leipzig left back. Then in the middle, I have Jude Bellingham, the Borussia Dortmund English player, 19 years old, great future. Then Amrabat, Sofiane Amrabat from Fiorentina, and Alexis McAllister, the Brighton player, outstanding for Argentina. And then up front, Lionel Messi, PSG, Julian Alvarez, who plays for Manchester City, and then Kylian Mbappe for PSG again. And then a list of substitutes, I have Dominik Livakovic, the Dinamo Zagreb keeper for Croatia, Achraf Hakimi for PSG, Nicolas Otamendi, Argentina, Benfica, Denzel Dumfries, the Netherlands fullback for Inter Milan, Dayot Upamecano, a great performance by the French player for Bayern Munich, Enzo Fernandez from Benfica, Luka Modric, the great Luka Modric, Real Madrid player, Croatian, Olivier Giroud, who plays for AC Milan, Angel Di Maria, Juventus, again, probably the best player in the final game, and then Cody Gakpo, the Dutch striker who plays for PSV Eindhoven.
So to recap, a few days after now, from what was, in my opinion, the best ever World Cup, I think we were all able to enjoy it this year. I think Qatar ended up being, controversies aside, one of the best hosts ever. Also, just by being able to go down there, I was able to appreciate the infrastructure that they had built for it. The sustainability of some of the stadiums too. A lot of the stadiums are being taken apart and parts being given across the world to improve stadium infrastructure across the world. And also just how nice of the people were, how safe it was. Honestly, the lack of alcohol just caused zero problems because people had really no excuse to behave poorly. And it's the first time in the World Cup that the English go home without having anyone arrested. So, for a fact, it's been quite the tournament. But I put together a little bit of a best 11 in my opinion. I went with the 3-5-2, with obviously a lot of the Argentinian guys that I thought had a really good tournament. So I had Martinez as the goalie. In the back three, I had Otamendi. Again, just standout performance this year. Gvardiol from Croatia, I thought was fantastic. I thought he had a really good tournament. And then Molina, fullback. I had him in the back three. Across the five in the middle, little hometown love. I thought Davies actually had a pretty good tournament. I thought he really played well against Croatia and also against Belgium in the first game, so I thought he was pretty much the standout. Another guy I had there potentially was Tejan, so let's get him and Tejan can split that spot. I'll give half a vote to each. And then the three in the middle, I had Alexis McAllister and Enzo Fernandez, two relatively lesser known players. Enzo playing for Benfica and coming from River Plate, and Alexis coming from Boca, playing for Brighton. Both of them have standout tournaments with Messi in the 10 and then Di Maria on the other wing. And then up top, obviously, I got to go with Julian Alvarez and Mbappe, who were amongst the top three goal scorers. Again, just very impactful players. And then in net, obviously, I don't know if I said it, but Emiliano Martinez. So it's bittersweet to kind of wrap this up because the end of the year is coming and we know we won't have football for a little bit, but I think this has shown that that there's a lot more that goes into the game now than just having the best players in the world. I think teams like Belgium figured that out right away. And then also how your country treats you determines the amount of pressure you play under. So teams like Spain and England play under so much pressure every single year to perform, or Germany or Belgium even, that they find it very difficult. Argentina came into this very confident after the Saudi Arabia game. I remember being at the Mexico game and So people are super excited, super optimistic, and they really rallied behind it. I guarantee you, if Argentina had lost, they still would have done a parade. They still would have celebrated it. It's just the culture in football in Argentina has changed because of the other socioeconomic and political issues that they're dealing with. I think everyone can get behind football, and yesterday you saw 5 million people on the street. So I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm not exactly thrilled about the 2026 World Cup. I just think that anything that touches North America football-wise just becomes super corporate. Like these seats that otherwise would have been to traveling fans are going to be taken up by TikTok stars and just politicians and, suits rather than actual fans. So I'm not looking forward to it. We pay like $200 to go see a TFC MLS game here. So it gives you an idea. Like Category 1 tickets at the World Cup are like $250. So that's like the best seats, the best games, at face value are $250. So you can only imagine what it's going to cost when it comes here. So I hope that Copa America tournament does come here. I think it's a little bit less profile. I would love to follow around Argentina and see how they do in that. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be Messi's last tournament after all. So I think he might get to play that Copa America. We might get to see him closer to home. But again, it's been a pleasure, and looking forward to the next time we get to do it.
I also came up with a list of players' disappointing performances. In some cases, there were disappointing individual performances, and in some other cases, there are players that represent the team that really, really underperformed this World Cup. So these are some of the players that I picked. Milan Borjan, the Canadian goalkeeper who plays for Red Star Belgrade, definitely not what we were expecting from him. Benjamin Pavard, the Bayern Munich player, I don't think he even played a minute. And there are some accusations of indiscipline, that he got in some trouble with Didier Deschamps. I'm going to go check. I don't think he ever played. I remember the fantastic goal he scored in 2018 against Argentina. Then Cesar Azpilicueta, the Chelsea player, again, kind of representing Spain. Thiago Silva, another Chelsea player, representing Brazil in this case. Ousmane Dembele, the Barcelona player, he had a really bad time on the final game against Di Maria. Kevin De Bruyne, Manchester City player, Belgium, was terrible. Andres Guardado, and again, to represent the Mexican team that again underperformed. He's a Real Betis player. And then Granit Xhaka, the Swiss player for Arsenal. And then up front, I have obviously Gareth Bale, the Welsh player who's currently with Los Angeles FC. Romelu Lukaku, who's with Inter Milan, the Belgian player. And Harry Kane with Tottenham. And then I have a few substitutes for this group too. Guillermo Ochoa, who last played for America in Mexico. Casemiro for Manchester United, the Brazilian player. Antonio Rudiger with Real Madrid, a German player. Cristiano Ronaldo, who currently has no club. Everybody says that he's going to be playing somewhere in the Middle East for a lot of money. Disappointing? Yeah. 1 goal, no goals after the group stage. Granted, he didn't even start the last 2 games. That was a very poor decision by the coach. But we obviously expected more from the great Cristiano Ronaldo. It was a very sad way to go. Similarly, Luis Suarez, who also last played for Nacional in Montevideo. Bad way to call it an international career. And Edinson Cavani, same thing. He's with Valencia right now, the other Uruguayan great. Giovanni Reina, the American player who currently plays for Borussia Dortmund, again, barely played, if anything. Also, many reports of indiscipline to the point that he was almost sent home in the middle of the competition. And finally, have Serge Gnabry, the Bayern Munich striker, again representing Germany, who was definitely a disappointing team this cup. Well, this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching or listening to the podcast as much as I enjoyed recording it and preparing it and writing and editing. And it was a blast. I really thank all the people who contributed to this. I mentioned them on the last episode: Santiago, Rowan, Juan, Freddy, Maria, Patricia, all the people, Florencia, all of the people who were involved with this. I really appreciate it. And And I hope this is not the last experiment. We will surely want to come back and do another podcast or series of podcasts. Hopefully they will be better done now that we have a little experience. So again, thank you so much for everything, and we'll see you soon.